So a lot of people are already talking about the newest, however you want to look at it, card to come to the game, White Widow. Now, a lot of people are projecting this card to be very good, so much so that they've held off using their spotlights just to get it. But is it honestly worth it? Well, I kind of differ from everybody else, but let me explain why. Welcome in, folks. For those who do not know, my name is Guest, also known as ItsGuestGaming. We are recording this live on Twitch at the moment to talk about White Widow. So if you like this type of content and you like the new deck breakdowns for new cards as they come on out, as always, hit that like and subscribe button down below because it really does help get more people to come to the channel. So let's go take a look at White Widow and what she's actually bringing to the game. She's a 2/2. On reveal, add a Widow's Kiss to your opponent's side of this location. So, okay, it's sending over a clog piece, but not just any clog piece. It's a 0/0 with an ongoing, this has -4 power. So if it stands by itself, or if it ends up not filling that location, it's going to be a 0 -4. But you can disable the card by filling that lane. I think a lot of people personally are looking at this specific ability of, oh, it's a 0 -4. And they're so excited for that. But me personally, I'm looking at it from the aspect of, it's a 0 -4 for how long? Because it's only going to be temporary. Chances are to put 3 cards in a location to win a location is still more than doable. And I think a lot of people are more excited for the clog aspect of this card, more so than the affiliated one, Black Widow, where it's putting a thing into your hand and stopping you from drawing, and you have to put it down, but it's only -1 power. This is on turn 2, which I wouldn't be surprised if later it gets changed to a 3 cost, just like Black Widow. But as for the actual effect of Black Widow, 2/2 is going to feel good. 2/2s are great tech standpoint, and to limit the game down to basically being you're up 2-0 on a 3-card versus 3-card lane, depending on the type of deck that you're building, that could be enough to win a lane all by itself. However, I think that more often than not, by the end of the match, that ability from the Widow's Kiss is actually going to end up being disabled, especially in these first couple of weeks. So be prepared to see this, number 1, be disabled, and number 2, be destroyed. Typically, when we have clog cards, normally that also brings the Rise of Destroy simultaneously when the cards release. So the opening statistics of the Widow's Kiss / White Widow, I expect to be lower than the future. But there are a couple of archetypes right off the bat that I do see her making a pretty organic fit. First and foremost, Bounce. I think Bounce is a natural home for White Widow. I think that she's going to fit really well into this because not only can you play her down at turn 2, but to bounce her back via Beast and play her as a 1-cost card to put another clog piece. It could be in the same lane, could be in a different lane, however you wish to kind of go about it. This feels incredibly solid to me. This feels incredibly broken, potentially, to me. And I even put in Black Widow because it does give that double extra clogging synergy back and forth. And we're going to try to bring back Werewolf by Night. It's like Fetch. I know we're going to try to make it work. Is it going to? I don't know. But I think with the number 1 package in Marvel Snap right now, the junk package of Hood, Sentry, and Annihilus, Bounce is already a good archetype. But now let's take it a step further by really interfering with the opponent and having your 3 main win conditions go alongside with it. So I think we're going to try a Widow Bounce style deck with a lot of littles, a lot of disruptions, Spider-Ham, Iceman. This is going to keep messing with the opponent's hand and with the opponent's board by sending over cards like via Annihilus. So White Widow, pretty organic fit for this because it's low cost with high ceiling. C2. I mean, there's not too much to say about C2 at this point. Cerebro 2, very tech forward. Put in Echo, put in Goose, put in Shadow King, put in Negasonic Teenage Warhead, block them all off. Stormalane, put Brood in it. Stormalane, put Negasonic in it. Stormalane, put White Widow in it because they're not going to fill that lane up. I think White Widow is going to bring a lot of surprise power on the Storm synergy in particular, which could help bring C2 over the top as to now being a more competitive deck, because it's constantly back and forth between which is better, Cerebro 2 or Cerebro 3. You let me know in the comments which one you think is better, but I think that White Widow is going to be a pretty organic fit for Cerebro 2. Galactus. Now, I'm going to bring back an old idea, a really old idea. When Galactus first came out, people were starting to get a little cheeky with how you could get Galactus Shuri to potentially work. I want to revisit that because White Widow interfering with the other side as a single target clog and then being able to be moved out is exciting to me. Being able to play White Widow followed by Ghost Spider to open up that lane is exciting to me. Taking Iron Fist, then playing Shuri into that lane on turn 5. Now you've got a 10 power Galactus to go off. There's a lot of cheekiness that can happen with the Galactus deck, and I think White Widow organically fits into it with the element of surprise that Galactus decks still need. They're always looking for new ways to surprise your opponent. One of the most successful videos I had on this channel was a Spectrum ongoing deck that also ran Galactus because no one ever saw it coming. I think with this older archetype, being able to bring it back as a defense mechanism of Shuri Hobgoblin always works great. Shuri into Nimrod in one lane and then Galactus because you've left it alone or you've sent over a Hobgoblin earlier if it's a magic round because you've Electro ramped. There's a couple of different ways you can play around it. I think that there's potentially something here, and I think White Widow's place in this is going to be using those one-cost move mechanics as something unique and different to bring a new flavor to Galactus decks if you are that type of player. This is probably the most toxic waste dump of cards I could put together. Therefore, I'm naming this deck Reddit. It's all toxic, it's all clog, it's all filled with crap. So let's have some fun with it. We have the Goblin piece in here. We have Selene reducing down the hood. You have Professor X locking down in Cannonball. You have Ravonna Renslayer getting the Profex down potentially on turn 4. You have Yellow Jacket being able to reduce down the debris rocks to be fired over onto the other side. There's a couple of different mechanisms you can run in this package, but it's not just clog, it's interference simultaneously. And White Widow going down onto the board, people forget about the awesome combination of Selene into Black Widow. So that's a 0 -4 all by itself, and they have to play it. Can't be disabled. So let's mess with their hand as well as their board, and then cannonball them into the next century. So this is a very toxic deck. It's an awful place. And Cannonball is an incredibly strong card right now in this meta that reinforces Clog. Does every deck need to have a Clog package? No. But White Widow's going to organically lean into it, so I think it's a pretty safe bet to, have a little fun and completely ruin your opponent's day. Next up, I'm calling this one the Grey Guardian Galaxy. It's exactly as it sounds. It's Jean Grey and Guardians of the Galaxy messing around with what White Widow does. Because you can White Widow a lane and then later on go into a Jean Grey package into a separate lane, reducing the chance that they're going to be able to undo what the White Widow can do, let's say in the right lane and you Jean Grey in the left. Now they have to play into that package. So how can you play around that? War Machine. War Machine on 5. People are starting to really recognize how strong that is. And the idea of what people do with Infinite and Ebony Maw on turn 6, if it's a Hope Summers turn, well, let's take advantage of that and keep the theme of the cheaper Guardians of the Galaxy. Remember, they got a rework where all of the Guardians, Rocket Raccoon, Star-Lord, and Groot in this deck, all get +4. So to put that into a Jean Grey lane where you know they have to play, depending on what's in your hand and depending on what you can play with it, if you've bounced on the Hope Summers, you have flexibility. You can put that War Machine down on turn 5 and play Crossbones and Groot. Or you can play Rocket Raccoon and Infinite. You have the Jeff to dance out there where you don't have to play into the Jean Grey lane, and then you could still play Jeff plus Groot plus Star-Lord even, all outside as long as you drop the Jeff first. You don't have to play in the Jean Grey lane at all. So you're messing with a little bit of interference because of Jean Grey, a little bit of control because of Storm, and then Iron Lad is going to make this over Drax because they're all +4 now. And Iron Lad, if it hits any of the, is better than Drax, because Drax was also +4. There's 2 bad hits for Iron Lad here. Crossbones and Infinite. Everything else is really pretty good. So Gray Guardian of the Galaxy, I expect to be interfering with our opponents a lot, and using White Widow in particular outside, like we said, with the Storm synergy, that's a great lane to go White Widow into Storm, and then you could either do White Widow into Jean Grey. It's an organic fit on turn 2, and there's a lot of fun that can be had with that. Last one comes as an inspiration from the live chat as we were talking about what else could we take advantage of with the Widow's Kiss. That could be, well, it's a negative effect, and this is what I alluded to in the very beginning. How long is it going to be a negative effect? It doesn't necessarily have to be there for turn 6. It just has to be there long enough to reduce down Abomination. So looking at Afflicted All, again, is a Moon Girl, She-Hulk, A-Bomb Affliction deck. This is high evolutionary to the evolvedness. You have the protection packages, of course, of Shang-Chi and Abomination to stay under the Shang-Chi range from your opponent, but you also have Scorpion, White Widow, Red Guardian, Cyclops, all taking Affliction to the opposite side of the battlefield, lowering the cost of those A-bombs. So whether you're putting a Red Guardian out there, which can also be substituted out if you want to put in an Enchantress for defense, you can do that too if you didn't get the most recent card, Red Guardian. But I think there's enough Affliction here that this works. I absolutely think that High Evolutionary is going to be a great idea. So I give kudos to my chat for always keeping me on my toes, where originally this one almost didn't make the video. So now we could have some real fun here. And I like what this deck probably brings as the more consistent variation. I was looking at, maybe doing the Hulk as well, or going into a Rulk package, but I think Moon Girl A-Bomb is probably the stronger variation of Affliction decks, where in the future, maybe we could work in the Hazmat Luke Cage combination by taking out Moon Girl She-Hulk and really lean into Affliction. There's a lot that can be done with the High Evolutionary Shell because of Abomination, and what the Widow's Kisses temporary, keyword, temporary negative Affliction will do to help Abomination. So I like that a lot for this deck. Which one of these do you think is going to be the best potential deck for for White Widow? Is it an Affliction style deck? Is C2 finally going to make it over the competitive edge? Or is it just literally just bounce it with a whole bunch of junk? I'm not sure, but we're going to be testing it all as we always do live here on Twitch. Thank you so much for joining me today. Once again, like and subscribe down below. I greatly appreciate all the support as we continue to grow here on Twitch and on YouTube. Thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your day.